Happy Sunday, and welcome, everyone, to episode 15 of Video Game Club. As always, I'm Tyler, and I have with me today the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Internet himself, Austin.
Hello.
Hello, Austin. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you doing today, Tyler?
Good. And of course, it would not be a Video Game Club meeting without the amazing and wonderful Mox.
Hello.
How are you, Mox?
I'm doing well, thank you. How are you?
Good. How's your Sunday going?
Oh, excellent. Always good. It's snowing. It's calm. That's all you can ask for.
Nice chill day. As I mentioned before, this is Video Game Club, where every 2 weeks we discuss a game voted on by our wonderful friends in the Bombchu Discord on twitch.tv/BombchuTV right here. If you can't catch us live, no problem. You can also find us on YouTube. Just search Bombchu. Now, before we get started, as always, I have to ask you all, what have you been playing? Let's start with Austin.
Oh, shoot. I've been playing Nerds, which is a competitive solitaire game.
Mm-hmm.
What?
Yeah. It's,
Nerds?
It's, I think in the UK it's known as Racing Demon.
Or
and then it's
Pounce.
got one other name.
Pounce.
Say it again?
Pounce?
Pounce, yeah. It's it sounds weird on paper, but then when you go to play it, it's real fun. So Zachtronics put out a free version of it that they've been playing in their office, and once the pandemic hit, they made an online version of it and got it polished up enough to publish on Steam. So definitely recommend checking it out. It's pretty fun to play. lots of cursing going on versus when I play solitaire by myself.
Yeah, it's really fun. It definitely awards like speed, but it's also one of those games like even if you don't win, it's just kind of fun to chill and just see where things go and mess
Like
people up.
Tetris 99 or whatever.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
What have you been playing, Mox?
Well, same old. Final Fantasy 14. I finally got to Heaven's Word, which is the second expansion pack. I think it came out in like 2016. Getting there. I know the new thing is that they opened the Ishgardian Restoration, which is post Heaven's Word, so can't do that, but I gotta grind my levels some way, and what better way than Final Fantasy with cute little cat people and dragon people.
True that. I have been playing a lot of Nerds as well, and I played the Star Wars Squadrons, like the pilot game this
Is that
this
Star
morning.
Wars Rogue Squadron?
Not Rogue Squadron.
Oh, classic.
But you do flying ships and shoot other ships. Having played Battlefront 2, though, I was not that impressed, just because like it is definitely a more built out version of the ship combat from that game, but it definitely feels like it was like, I don't know. I believe it was like a budget title. I don't think it was full $60 either when it came out, but
It was like $40, I think.
yeah, I don't know. It's just not for me. But it was nice to see and play. Good music, you know.
Did you ever play like X-Wing or TIE Fighter?
I did not.
Okay, my understanding is it was supposed to be more of a follow-up to those games from the PC way back in the day.
Way back, yeah.
Yeah.
So, moving on. The games for this week suggested by Mox were Hacknet, Erica, and Putt Putt Travels Through Time. If you wanted us to discuss one of those other games, please head over into the Bombchu Discord to make your voice heard. Now, let us jump into Hacknet.
Woo.
Hacknet is before I say this, I am wanting your guys' feedback on this statement, because this is like one of those things that when people talk about games, they're never really sure how to describe stuff like this. I would call Hacknet a first-person hacking simulator. Would you guys agree that it's first-person?
Well, what would a third-person hacking simulator look like?
Well, true, but a lot of people, whenever for example, like a game like Civ, would you consider Civ first-person?
the person doesn't come into it because I'm not controlling a character.
Yeah, I can see that. What perspective would you call that?
Why does it have to have a perspective? Why can't it just be a strategy game?
I mean,
top down.
Jeez.
Or whatever it is where it's at an angle.
Mox over here not wanting perspectives.
So like, I guess maybe Black and White might be a good example of what you're trying to get at, Tyler. Where
exactly
where it's a God game.
Yeah.
So like you're playing as God. Although even there's some weirdness to it because it's like you have your creature that does work for you that you kind of give directions to, but it won't necessarily do what you tell it to.
Unless you... Oh, I just have so many opinions about Black.
And then is that a second-person game where it's you're interacting with a person that you're trying to get to do things? But
no, because you have spells. You do spells.
Yeah, so you do things, but then a good chunk of the gameplay is not first-person gameplay, I guess?
I quibble with that.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so what I do is you put, what are we talking about, Black and White 1 or 2? You put, if it's on 2, you get the little fluffy leash, the rainbow one, stick your, like whatever town you just conquered, put your nice, we
just find Mox as a big
creature, and you attach it to their like town center, and then you just let your creature do whatever, and then you go and do all of the awesome side quests, like throwing beer barrels to singing, men to get it along these little like islands. Well, I guess
so. Do us a favor.
Oh man,
give us a little flavor. Okay, for next meeting, I challenge you to go take a look at Pac-Man 2: The Adventures of Pac-Man, and try to tell me what perspective that game is in.
Sounds good.
Because that's probably the ultimate what I'm trying to get at with this example.
Yep. So we're going to call Hacknet a first-person hacking simulator. It was developed by Team Fractal Alligator, based in Australia, and published by Fellow Traveler, also based in Australia. It came out August 12th, 2015 on PC, and it came later to Linux and Mac that year. So what was going on in 2015? We have played some games from 2015 in Video Game Club.
We have.
So Soma, 2015. Undertale, 2015. Axiom Verge, 2015. And there may have been another one, but I didn't write it down. So Witcher 3 also came out. Fallout 4, Metal Gear Solid 5, Phantom Pain. Banger of a year.
Oh yeah.
Either that was just a great year for games, or 5 to 6 years is like a good feel of how long it should be before something's brought back into the spotlight. I don't know. Maybe it's a combination of the two.
Yeah.
But that's been a popular year here on Video Game Club.
Yeah, it definitely has. And I loved every game we've played in 2015 so far.
Mm-hmm.
The engine until now exactly.
No.
The engine that it uses, I believe, is a custom engine. I couldn't find any information on it, but I believe it's a custom engine. I think it makes sense with how the game plays, and how it opens up like a terminal when you start it on your computer. But anyway, so let's dive into the history a bit about these companies, and then we'll talk a bit about the game. So Team Fractal Alligator, like I mentioned before, was the developer, based in Australia. It is just a one-man studio. The guy's name is Matt Trobiani, and this was his first and only project so far under Team Fractal Alligator. There was some DLC, which we'll talk about, and some other stuff, but this is it. So I would say he's due, if he's still working on games. Might get something really interesting coming soon here. Fellow Traveler, the publisher, was founded in 2011, like I said before, based in Australia. And they specialize in publishing narrative games. So here's some of the games they've played, and I know, Austin, you've played quite a bit of these. The Church in the Darkness, Hive Swap, Neocab, Orwell, The Stillness of the Wind.
Oh, wow.
Something tells me that Fellow Traveler has a really good relationship with Humble.
Yeah, I would say so. Only one of those games I have not played.
Orwell is so good.
Yeah, I played. Did you enjoy NeoCab, Austin?
I have not tried it yet. Chris reviewed that on when it was in a Humble Bundle, but it's on. He liked it quite a bit, and it's on my to-do list for sure.
Yeah, I really liked what I played of that.
Ever-growing to-do list.
Are you a big fan of Orwell, Mox?
Oh, yes. I mean, it has a similar vibe to this game where you can just kind of like read stuff that doesn't necessarily relate to the game and you learn about people.
Mm-hmm.
But I really like the story with that one. Also, it has like, vibes, Big Brother, vibes. Love that theme.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's a really interesting publisher, and it's nice that they've done like a lot of these narrative games and they picked up Hacknet. So let's talk a bit more about Hacknet without getting spoilery, of course. The game simulates a UX-like operating system. You have different windows. Apparently, it's highly reminiscent of the i3 window manager, which I'm not familiar with. But it has like different tiling configurations. Like you can have like different themes, which you get later on. You have two like kind of main interfaces. You have like your main interface, and then you have like your terminal interface. So like depending on your theme, those things can shift a bit, but for the most part, like you have this like more UI, click a point, like use a mouse thing in the middle and the left and the bottom, and then like on the far right you have a terminal, which is all typing. Besides that, like you use this the terminal and this other user interface to explore different computers, servers, also like different like Internet of Things stuff, like small devices like phones, for example. The gameplay works where you have like different tools at your on your computer that you can use to hack or gain accessibility, admin access to other computers. Those tools use different ports. Sometimes there's like a proxy and a firewall, which a firewall you have to like solve like not like a puzzle. What would you call it? Like I don't know.
Like a cipher, maybe?
Yeah.
Well, but you could just like keep typing analyze until it tells you to write.
That is true. Yeah, you can spam it until it tells you.
Sometimes you'll hit a spot where the analyze is just too slow, and you'll have to kind of solve it before. Like you just don't have time to keep doing that. But
yeah, the main limitation when running these programs to gain access to these computers is memory. You can only run so many things at a certain time. As you go through, you kind of learn like what things can be ran together and what things can't, just based on memory usage.
And it's really easy to tell how much memory you have because it's represented by that left vertical rectangle on screen. All your programs run in that space. So if there's no more space in that rectangle, there's no more RAM available for you to run programs.
Which is just so cool. Sorry, keep going.
It's a really cool way to represent it, because especially given that your notes, for example, take up RAM. You have to be like, you have to balance between do I need to keep this information up, or I got to clear this out. I need more space to run my programs quickly. Yeah,
there's also like if you run shells on other computers, those also take some RAM as well away from you, and those shells are used for the proxy. So you basically have all these tools at your disposal that you use to gain access to these computers. There is one way that they can combat you, which is by tracing you. And what happens is you get shown a countdown, and once that countdown reaches 0, you get caught, and you have to restart, or sometimes there is a special activity that you have to do in order to get your computer functioning back. Once you have access to the computer, you can then like read all the files, navigate around them, and see kind of like what's going on. There's the story, like the way that the game works is that you're given missions in an email, and sometimes you have to reply to them. like with like IP addresses or passwords or things. Sometimes you don't. You can just say like you can just reply and say it's done. That's basically the game. Like it's all about navigating and hacking these computers, and that's kind of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean,
in a nutshell.
Yeah. So yeah, that's one thing that is interesting is that there are a lot of like IRC text files that you can read.
I love bash.org. I've read everything there. And these are just copied from it, and I recognized like almost every single one that was in this game because I've read literally all of them.
Yeah. But yeah, that was really cool that those were there. But yeah, that's basically it. Like without giving too much away as far as the gameplay goes, like you can do most of the activities that you need to do directly in the terminal, like even navigating files, for example. You don't need to use like the interface to do that, or viewing files. You don't necessarily need to use, or connecting to computers even. There's a little map that you can see in the bottom, but you don't have to do that.
I guess the one thing we kind of left out is when you have admin access of a machine, you can scan for other machines that are connected to that one.
Yes, and that is a big part of the game for sure.
Yeah, so it's the difficulty, or like the challenge of the game is not in the basic gameplay, which I would say is more the case of something like Uplink. It was kind of difficult for me to figure out, but something like this is really easy to pick up, even if you don't do a lot of command line. Like, this is a really great way to get comfortable with command line. Especially since you can also use the point and click interface for a lot of it. The challenge kind of comes more from, okay, how do what I'm looking for is not here, so where can I go from here? And trying to kind of figure out where to investigate.
Yeah. And a lot of these missions, like they'll tell you like, hey, they'll give you like an IP address, and it kind of like, You seem to, like, that isn't always the place that you find what you're looking for. A lot of times you have to scan to find those other computers, and that's part of it. That's like a major part of the game, is like finding like how these things connect, and then finding the piece of information, kind of tying things together. So yeah, this is like a really short game. There's not a lot, like there is a lot going on as far as like the story goes, but as far as like gameplay goes, it's relatively straightforward. It's a lot of like reading to find out where else you need to go to hack computers and stuff, but this isn't something that requires like fast reflexes or anything like that. It's more of just like knowing what commands to enter, which ones can be ran at the same time, keeping some notes, and then kind of like sniffing around on other computers to find what you're looking for. Do you guys have anything else you'd like to add just about like the general like Hacknet in a nutshell, basically, before we move on to the story?
I think that sums it up pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So I'm going to turn on the old spoilers tag here, which means we're about to talk about some story beats. And if you don't want to be spoiled, there will be a chapter or like a tag in the YouTube version where you can skip the spoilers. And of course, if you're watching the stream, just mute, and I will turn off the spoiler tag when we're done. What? Did I say something wrong, Austin?
No, sorry.
Okay.
I was trying to cover up a burp, so I did it with my mouth closed, and it was still loud enough to make it onto my mic. I apologize.
Oh my god.
Just a little comedy here in Video Game Club. Just a little Austin burping action.
Gross.
All right, so let's start with the story here. So the game begins with the player automatically connected by a user with the username Bit. An automated message tells the player that it was sent in the event of Bit's death, and asks that the player investigates his death. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Everyone on the same page? Okay.
Well, and finish his work.
Yeah, and so what he starts to do is Bit starts to teach you the simple game mechanics of the game by doing some simple missions. And he tells you to join this hacking group called Entropy. After this, it's kind of like the story kind of goes like, you know, it kind of takes a step back, and it's a little open because they're like, hey, do these missions, right? So you start doing these missions, and you eventually get hacked by a hacker named Nakes.
I was saying Nakes, but no idea.
Yeah. They get pretty pissed off at you and try to ruin your day. They essentially like trace you, and I'm pretty sure you can't do anything about this, right?
So I was reading, there's apparently something you can do about it. So when you're dealing with proxies and you're shelling other computers, there's overload, which you use on proxies, and then there's also a trap button. And I went to look up what the trap button does, and apparently if somebody is trying to hack into your system, which Nix does, you can use trap to stop them, and you can do it to Nix. I tried to, and it didn't work, and I found other people who also had it not work, but then some people online were able to do it. So it's hard to say. Apparently, he sends you something different if you trap him. But it seems to be a bit inconsistent on to whether or not it works.
Okay.
Well, this game is pretty buggy if you read like all the online things. But I think
there are definitely some bugs.
Oh, really?
I think the operative. Oh, yes. I think the operative thing though is that he's messing with your computer in the background while you're doing other stuff. So if you happen to notice it in your terminal,
you can catch it in your logs and stuff. Yeah.
That's the thing.
Oh.
Which is so cool. Anyway, keep going.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, that is cool. I didn't know that there was a lot of bugs. I didn't run into anything really. Like, it's pretty standard. Pretty great experience.
It's mostly, I guess, like, I mean, if
Nothing
you
game breaking.
Yeah, if you drop a quest, like for example, later when you get the missions or whatever from CSEC, if you drop one of those, you might not be able to pick it up ever again. So all of the like guides and like reviews are like never drop a quest in like big red text.
Okay.
Anyway, keep going.
Okay. Yeah. So what happens is that you get hacked and you recover from that, and then the story it splits. And I didn't know this until reading a bit further in, but you can either take revenge on the attacker, or you can follow him or something. There's like,
well, so even if you take revenge on him, he'll like take notice and still send you an email to give you that mission to go. Basically, there's a new set of quests that you can do that are totally optional,
like a third faction.
But it's not quite white hat hacking. Like his first mission for you is he wants you to go to some site he doesn't like and make it say some naughty words on the front page.
Did you guys go that route?
No, I thought he was a big piece of crap, and I didn't really want to get involved with any of the stuff that he was doing.
Yeah,
you have bigger fish to fry.
Same.
Wait, but you skipped something with the Nakes hack. Isn't that when he deletes your UI?
Yeah.
So if you haven't, I mean, and like I really like using the terminal, so I try to use the terminal all the time because it makes me feel like a real hacker, even though I have no skills in this capacity whatsoever. So when he deleted it, I was like, oh yes, let me, fingers cracked, stretch my fingers here. But
it's your first test to be like, I hope you've been learning the terminal so far. If you haven't, it's time to learn.
It's a cute idea.
Yeah, you do have to recover from that, and it's pretty simple to recover. You just have to like find a file that you're missing, basically. Download it, that's kind of it. And then reboot. But yeah, that was like the first time where you're kind of forced to use the terminal. And this game is it reminds me of Undertale in that, and hear me out, but before you start butchering me, it reminds me of Undertale and how towards the end of Undertale, the screen, it like you think it ends, then it comes back, and you think it ends, and little spoilers for Undertale maybe, but
okay.
But Hacknet also does some stuff like that to where you're like, oh, I have to restart, and then it's like, no, you don't. You get you like are still here, and you have to do some things. I don't know. I like it when games do that. Like they try to trick you that like this game's over, or this game's broken, or something. So that was interesting.
That was a pretty well done section. Although I will say, there was definitely some potential for accidents to happen in your computer if you go off the rails there.
Yes, yeah. If you're not careful, it could have a bad time for sure. So you get. Do you work for Entropy the whole time? You don't, right?
No, you kind of like grow out of
You
them.
outgrow them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you go to like another organization. I forget what that organization's called.
Sorry, it's CSEC. I think I said ESEC earlier.
CSEC, yeah. So you go to CSEC. Is that where Project Junebug is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So before moving on to there, let's talk about, was there any missions from the first set that you guys thought were really interesting?
There was the clicker game mission where you have to go get rid of this guy's score, but there's a couple of achievements involved with it where it's a full clicker game that you can play.
Yeah.
But then there's an achievement to get like a ridiculous score that nobody actually knows. I haven't been able to find anybody who knows what the score requirement is for it, because it's apparently just too ridiculous to get naturally. So generally you're supposed to either, instead of deleting that guy's save, just name it to your own so that becomes your score, or you can create your own save on there and edit the values to be ridiculous. And that's one of the things I love about the game, is there's so many different ways to approach different tasks.
Yeah.
And that was just a really good example of it, as well as another example of a game inside a game, which I know I always get excited when I find games inside games.
Oh, yeah. Same. This is kind of a tangent, but Yakuza has a lot of that, like mini games inside their game, and I spent like hours just collecting cans recently.
Do you know how to play Mahjong?
Not yet. I've been trying to learn, but anyway, is there any?
I know how to play, but you don't. The hands. To remember the hands. It's the hard part.
Yeah.
Mox, do you have any missions that stood out?
I really like the hacking. It's like it builds a lot of tension. And you're like, what do I do? There's like a whole bunch of countdowns and everything's like moving around you. Yeah. And you're like, no, my computer. I really like that part. I thought it was fun.
So moving on to like the more serious missions, Project Junebug.
Well, first, like, so you hack a bit, and then CSEC's like, hey, you look like a pretty good hacker. Like, why don't you join our little our little group here? And they make you do like a little initiation quest, and then they have you can like do what are they? I don't remember what they're called. Like little quests that they put, like the members ask people to do for them, and you can do those
contracts or something.
Contracts,
yeah.
And there's only 2 servers with contracts, right? The first one and then this one.
I think so.
There's technically another server, but that's if you follow Makes.
Yeah. Okay.
That's like /EL or something like that.
Okay. So then you get and your rank kind of like resets. So as you're going through, like the first one, you're like, oh, now you're level this or you're rank this, and you can take on these contracts now and stuff like that. So you go work for CSEC.
Well, and the benefit of it, you're trying to work through this to like get close to what Bit, what Bit wants you to do. Like, there's a reason you're doing this.
Yeah.
Keep going.
That's true.
And you're also building up your set of tools.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, you're trying to get more tools. But Bit also kind of, in my experience at least with the story, maybe I wasn't poking around enough. He it's like in the background.
Yes.
Of like
but
the main.
I mean, if you do a lot of the contracts and you poke around like in the computers that you're hacking, but not specifically for the pieces that they want you to hack, there's a reason every quest is there. Like there's some data on the computers that relates to the story at large as you go along.
I see. So you'll see like some references or something.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So you start working for CSEC and you climb up that ladder by doing missions. I think we can't not talk about Project Junebug. And
which I'm so glad that I asked if you had played it, because I know you weren't having the best time with it.
I was not.
This was, when I first played through this game, this was the mission that took it from a game that I was like, this is pretty good, to being a game that I was just gaga over, because that was such a cool mission.
Yeah. Do you want to? You should expound on Project Junebug.
Okay, I see Toby in the chat asking if he should mute if he hasn't played yet. Toby, you should definitely mute for this part because,
this is like
if you're
what we did.
looking to play through this game, double secret
spoiler within a
spoilers.
spoiler.
Double secret. Yeah.
Because this is such a cool mission, and if you play through this game, this is totally optional. And even when you start the quest, it even goes, you cannot do this quest if you don't want to, but you should do this quest because it's really good.
Before moving on to Project Junebug, sorry, did you complete all the CSET quests?
No, I think I left 2 open because I was trying to go back and do them, and it was like, complete the contract that's in progress, and I could never get it to
another glitch.
It was probably a glitch.
Okay.
But
it's fun. They're fun to do, and I really like I said, I really like reading all of the junk.
Yeah.
So that and I just took in every piece of data. Keep going.
Yeah.
Project Junebug.
But yes, play Project Junebug. So in this one, you are approached by a family who they're trying to euthanize one of their family members. They're living in pain. They have a horrible quality of life, and the doctors won't do anything about it. And so they ask for you to basically hack into this pacemaker and overload it, or something to the effect of you're going to euthanize this patient through hacking. And it's so you have to. It's a bit more of an involved mission because you have to kind of do some research on how to get into this device. And when you finally do, you get in your interface, like, you have a heart rate monitor for him, and so like you can choose to quit it at any time if you're just like, I'm not comfortable with this. But if you do decide to do it, then you are there the whole time while you watch his heart rate plummet. And dude, it's
you have to stay the whole time, because I thought I could just like upload the firmware or whatever you have to do, and then I could like kind of leave. And I did that, and like they were like, no, it's not done. And I was like, excuse me? And then I had to go back and watch him die. I was like, great, this is great.
Yeah. So you never see this person, you're never in the room with them, but you are you're so connected to it and such a part of it through this computer interface that's just like, I thought that was just a really well done mission. Like, I'm so glad that's there. I see why it's optional, but I think everyone should play that mission.
The other thing is, it's like a bit scary with how bad security can be. I mean, obviously, like, it's a bit different IRL than in Hacknet, but like, it's definitely possible. And it's a bit
imagine
scary.
doing this to somebody that is not looking to die, like doing this to murder somebody, right?
Yeah.
I mean, pacemakers aren't connected to the internet, just FYI.
Oh, well,
this is supposed to be a fancy new one that they can monitor remotely through Bluetooth, and
that is true. They talk about that.
Okay.
Yeah, they talk about how it's like cutting edge.
Yeah, I mean, like when I went to vote, for example, they were like, these voting machines are not connected to the internet. You just type in what you want, and it prints out this piece of paper which you vote with. So I figure they'll do something like that with pacemakers. Anyway, you put like a big black like box over them, and it's like near field communication. Anyway, keep going. Sorry.
Yeah, play Project Junebug, right?
Yes.
Yeah, definitely play Project Junebug.
I would even say, if you're listening and you haven't played this game, I would say play up to Project Junebug at the least. It's not that long, and you'll kind of know if you like it or not after that mission, I think.
Well, and I appreciated like Project Junebug in and of itself, but the cool part is that you had to do an earlier quest that had you hack the same. It's like a medical database. And during that one, you like look up someone's medical record and give it to someone else who's like, oh, I didn't really want to know that. But they have like, and I'm looking at it now, they have like, 200 medical records. And I was like, I bet these are all just people that worked on the game. And most of them have nothing in them. But there are some names that I recognize by, again, reading just the documents that happened, like that you just come across that aren't required for the game. And they make references. And also there's the Trobiani. Trobiani. He's in it, and he says, well, he was born in, Australia, and it looks like he has polycystic kidney disease. I wonder if that's real. He takes lisinopril.
Oh, wow.
I thought that was cute. Sorry, keep going.
So yeah, you work your...
Do we want to say...
Well?
Do we want to say double secret spoilers over?
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, totally.
Okay.
Totally over. So now we're going to talk about the finale of the game. As you work your way through, what is it called? CSEC? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you work your way through CSEC. Eventually someone reaches out to you about Bit, and you start to do, you kind of have like a fork in the road as far as like which missions you want to do. You can either continue doing the CSEC ones for a bit and focus on the Bit ones later, or
For a bit.
or yeah, or start on the Bit missions. As soon as they reached out to me, I forget what's his name, Viper? No, not Viper.
Yeah,
Vapor.
Vapor?
Oh,
I thought it was
I don't know why I
Vapor.
thought it was Viper.
Well,
Because they're similar.
I think he starts going by V after a little bit.
yeah. He reaches out and he's wondering about Bit, and then you start doing some missions around Bit and where he's gone and stuff. You learn that Bit was a major contributor to this project that
Hacknet.
this computer security company was working on, called Intech. That's the company's name. The project is what, Hack something? Hacknet?
It's Hacknet.
Yeah, it is.
Hacknet,
Yeah.
yeah.
So there's, I forget what the security software is called. I don't even know if it has a name, but there's Hacknet and then the security software by the Intech company, and basically Bit he learns about some really shady stuff that's happening, which he doesn't think is ethical. And that is that the security company is manufacturing both of these products, a security software and then a software to hack security. And they are making it to where their security can't be hacked by Hacknet, but Hacknet can like hack all these other different security softwares. And so they're trying to do this like weird, like they're in this like weird like line game with themselves, and also where they're like, oh, look how safe and secure our software is. Hacknet can't do it, and it's the best. But they also make Hacknet.
Which is the exact, we were talking about this before. This is what they do at Monsanto. They like sell, Roundup and all their weed killers, but they don't just kill weeds, they kill a lot of plants. So, Monsanto's like, well, if you want to use Roundup, you better use our Roundup Ready corn seeds so that the Roundup doesn't kill your corn. And then you can just spray Roundup everywhere and not even have to worry about anything getting through. Which, I mean, you have to pay a premium for the seeds and for the Roundup, but it saves a lot of time because you just kill everything. But then you ruin biodiversity because we're only using one strain of corn. And then if, just like in that, what's that movie with the spinning around and the crazy music and the
Interstellar?
Yes, I love how you knew exactly what I meant. In Interstellar, where everything is like one species, that, if some blight comes to that one species of corn, all the corn on the planet dies. Anyway, I just got a little triggered.
No, you're good. So once you learn all the facts about what's going on, you then proceed to delete all Hacknet projects and all like anything with the word Hacknet in it. You go to remove, and that allows you to then like I can't remember how this happens, but Bit somehow is able to email you the last piece of like this puzzle, which is this thing calls the Heart of Port Hack, which is a tool that Bit made, and you like, what do you like hack that heart, right? And that's the end.
Yeah, it like
Yes.
physically kills the.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't kill it, I guess. Shuts it down, the computer,
And-
servers.
And what was really nice is at the end you get to hear like a voice acted words from Bit, which is really nice because during the whole thing you don't hear any voice acting or any reading of any text, and it kind of like happens at the end at this like really emotional, sad part of the game. Bit was awesome. Rest in peace, for real. Pour one out. He was a good dude.
And the details around his death were really terrible because it's like the company figured out what he had figured out, and the CEO is basically trying to get him to be shut up, and whoever he contacts about it doesn't really... They're very vague on the details, so they put out a hit on him. And when the CEO learns about it, he's just like, no, I need him to stay around. He's a genius. Like, don't kill him. And whoever he's been in contact with is just like, that's too late. It's all anonymous. So the job's done. He's dead. See ya. Yeah. It's just so matter of fact. It's really just like, oh, geez.
Yeah.
Well, can we talk about details now? Oh,
yeah, go ahead. No, go ahead.
Okay. Well, so first of all, Hacknet is the program that they're building, and you are playing on Hacknet. Like the device that you use that you sign onto is Hacknet. This is hard to explain because the name of the game is Hacknet. But like, I don't know. Throughout the whole game, you're like, wow, I don't think hacking is supposed to be this easy. You just type in like, port hack, and you can go into a computer. Like that seems silly.
Yeah.
But then like. And that's why Nakes gets mad at you. He's like, he calls you a script kiddie, which is exactly what you are. And then he's like, why are you just hacking? You don't know how to hack. Yeah. And then you're like, well, I mean, I do because I know all these buttons. And then you do. I don't know. That's so funny to me that it's like, I like when like the title of a game means something. Like the game is Hacknet. You're on Hacknet. I don't know why that's so cool to me, but it is.
Well, they also talk about how it's like it's a VM. So Hacknet's like an OS, right? Yeah. And they keep mentioning that it's a VM that you're on. Yeah. And every once in a while they'll bring up like your base OS. And anytime you do anything in your base OS, you're actually outside of the game. And so it's like you're running the game, which is Hacknet, and that brings up a VM of Hacknet. So it's like more to your point of the game, like the name of the game is what you're running and all that. It's like it's just an extra layer of really cool.
Have you ever seen Inception?
Yes, I see. But I didn't play the DLC, but I was reading, ironically, the what's it called, the TV tropes page, and they talk about some bits in the DLC. And I'm sorry that I'm not going to play it, but I just don't really care. But at one point in the DLC, you have to go to your base OS and fix something, and that just means like closing the game, deleting a file, and then opening the game again, which is just so cool.
Oh,
it's very cool.
That's really cool.
Also, if you like the base game, you should definitely play the DLC because it's really cool. They add some new tools, but also the missions become more investigative in nature, and there's a lot more to like poke around. Okay. And some of the new tools are also really cool. I accidentally triggered the DLC, not realizing I couldn't leave it until I completed it.
Oh my gosh.
So like very early in the story, I did that, and then I was able to use those tools on the rest of the game.
Oh.
So like you get a better version of the FTP hacking program that's a lot faster.
Thank God.
Oh my God.
The trace kill thing that you get, which requires like a ton of RAM, but like stops whatever's tracing you.
Yeah.
You get a better version of that it doesn't have to, like it can spool up. And so if other stuff is running, like, and it doesn't have enough room to take up all the RAM it needs, it'll do like a percentage decrease on the trace. So it basically super slows it down until you're done hacking in.
That's nice.
Lots of cool stuff like that. You also get some like memory tools to where you can copy a computer's memory state and then go poke around in like stuff that they don't have saved, stuff that they just have like open on their computer that's not saved on their drive. Lots of really cool things. I definitely recommend. Also, the soundtrack, holy moly, is really great in the base game, but also the DLC has a totally new soundtrack that's just amazing. And it's got a great finale mission where you get to make a pretty dire moral choice that has some severe implications. It was a nice follow-up to the Project Junebug mission, I felt.
Slow your horses there, Austin. You're getting ahead of us.
I don't mean to be a salesman. I'm just saying I bought the DLC so fast when it came out. Like the minute it dropped, I bought it, and then like 2 minutes after that, Humble sent me a coupon for a discount on it because I had gotten Hacknet in a Humble bundle.
Yeah,
they're like, well, since you got it in a Humble bundle, here's a discount for the DLC. I'm just like, I don't even care. I'm just glad that I get to play this 2 minutes before they sent the disc out.
Oh my gosh.
It's really good. If you like the base game, play the DLC.
Okay. You convinced me.
Okay.
All right. Any more spoilery stuff?
I mean, I could say so much, but no.
Right. I would say we kind of glossed over the final mission where you're deleting all the Hacknet stuff. So when you do that, it's like everything's going to be tracing you like hardcore, and V, I think, says he's going to kind of run interference as long as he can. And so as soon as you have to like click a button or like run a program when you're ready to start that mission.
Yeah, and then
it starts. Your screen slowly like starts turning red from the top, dropping down to kind of signify how long you have.
That's pretty cool.
And you have to go rapid fire like really fast, and this awesome music is playing the whole time, and it's just like, this is the moment that you're just like, this is real. I gotta get this. I gotta get through. Oh my god! And that's just a really cool feeling mission. It bugged out on me because when the screen finished filling, it like receded back a bit, and the music was done playing, and it was just like gave me extra time to keep going. And so that was a bit of a letdown, but I was able to finish. It was just like it kind of took away from the urgency of the situation. But still, a very cool mission.
Yeah, definitely. The end was really cool. Anything else?
No.
All right.
Take that spoilers away.
We're taking the spoilers away.
Spoilers be gone!
All right, so let's talk a bit about the reception. So there was a talk that the developer did where he did say that the game was successful. No sales numbers were shared, so who knows, but he was able to do a pretty successful game on Steam, and he talked about how he did that in front of a group of people, so that's great. It also was received quite well by critics. It wasn't reviewed widely, but the ones that did review it gave it 8s, so, it was reviewed pretty well. The future, which Austin dived into a bit, the game has some DLC called Labyrinth, which is 4-ish hours of content. Would you say that's right, Austin?
If you play it like, if you do it fresh after having not played Hacknet for a while, maybe 4, I would say it's probably shorter if you've been in the middle of playing Hacknet already. Okay. Just because you'll be used to kind of what's going on. And
that is highly recommended by Austin if you didn't listen to the spoilers part of this. Also, there's something called Extensions, which is like Steam Workshop custom content for this game, which allows people to write their own stories. And did you guys explore any of this at all?
No, but I knew about it because it would always show up on my Steam library page, and like there's like news, and they would have little competitions about like, we just had another like who makes the best, special mission. You make missions basically. Yeah. And they have little competitions about like, this person made a really great mission, great job. Make sure you go play it. These were their top 3. It's really cute. I like the community. Like people are still making stuff for it.
Yeah, it's really cool.
I need to go check those out because that sounds pretty awesome.
Apparently,
I know they were
really
working on multiplayer.
Oh yeah.
Ooh.
There's a lot
there's
of
like
them.
some functions in there where you can, once you hack into somebody else's computer, like you can open their CD tray and stuff like that. Assuming that anybody still has a CD drive attached to their computer.
And that was interesting. I don't know why, but you have to have a disk drive just in case. I want to make you listen to my disk drive open, because that's the sound I heard when there's like a certain mission where you have to type open disk drive and it opens your disk drive.
I typed open disk drive a lot because I was just curious if it would do anything, and it did nothing. I was sad.
It opens your CD tray. There it is.
I don't have one of those because I built my computer in the last 3 years.
I did too. It's like $5 at Newegg. You just have one just in case.
I have an external one if I ever really need to do something, but I haven't had to use that in 5 years.
Oh my goodness.
Gotta buy them CDs, rip them through iTunes.
We were just talking about this. What if I need to play my Uncle Buck DVD?
Oh my gosh, back on this Uncle Buck.
Where would I put it?
Didn't you buy a PS5 for that?
Yes, but before the PS5 was working, because the DVDs didn't play on my PS4, how do you think I played it? disc drive.
PS4 plays DVDs.
It didn't. Mine doesn't. I don't know. It always says, "Oh, I can't find the Blu-ray stuff," and I'm like, "It's not a Blu-ray," and it's like, I don't know what to do with it, and spits it out. Anyway, sorry, we don't have to talk about Uncle Buck.
Correct Mox in the comments if PS4 can play.
It does,
Uncle
but
Buck
mine doesn't.
DVD.
Mine's broken. Mine's broken.
Also, give your hot takes on Uncle Buck in the comments too.
It is such a good movie.
That is a great movie. R.I.P. John Candy.
Pour one out.
Rest in peace.
So let's go over our personal takes. I'll start on a low note. I was not a fan of this game at all. You heard it here first.
I would act surprised, but I've been talking to Tyler for the last couple weeks about this. So I was surprised when he first said it. I was just like, "What? You don't like this game?
What about it?"
Okay, so I can really appreciate it. Like I love like what it's doing and how it makes you feel and stuff and the story it's trying to tell. But if I want to work in like a Unix CLI and solve problems, I would just rather work. Like I would just rather like do things work related. Like if I'm gonna be in the terminal at all, like I would much rather like, I don't know, write a script to do something that I need to do at work, or like if I need to like set up a server for something like a web server, if I ever wanted to do that. Not that you even need to do that really anymore because cloud is your friend, but like I would just, if I'm gonna be working in terminal at all, like I associate that so much with work that it just was like not really fun for me. Like, oh, I gotta navigate through this directory, never done that before. Oh, I gotta find this file and like download it, never done that before. Like it just felt a lot like work to me. The story was good. There were definitely some highlights. The beginning was kind of slow for me, but because it was teaching you a lot of the basic stuff. Like, here's how you download. Here's how you look at a directory. Here's how you do. And
you can skip that if you type kill.
I should have done that.
FYI.
There's an achievement for doing that.
Oh,
by
is
the way.
there?
Yeah.
But
I mean, because you run it as a program. It's a program. So you kill it.
Yeah,
anyway.
the tutorial itself is a program and running in
I did like the music. That was pretty cool. But the rest of the game, I was just like, eh. So for me, felt too much like work. 5 out of 10. That's what I have to say. Yeah.
Let me go next, because then it'll go like elevated.
Do it.
Okay. So I liked this game. I picked it, and I had played it a little bit when I picked it, and I picked it in the spirit of like alternate control methods. I like my job. My job does not necessarily entail typing in terminal, but I like doing that as a hobby as well. And so I liked doing that, and it was fun. So I liked that part of it. I didn't like the music because like I spent so much time scrolling around reading records and the loops are rather short. So it was just very repetitive.
Yeah, if you're stuck in if you're staying in one area for a long time, I did notice this. If you're in one spot for a long time, it can start to get a little grating having one song play over and over again because it does not shuffle between songs. The songs are like associated with sections of the game. And at some point you can get like a music changer.
Oh, really?
I don't remember when that is, but there's a program you can get that it allows you to shuffle the music or like choose a specific song that you want to play. But you don't get that until like way later. So yeah, it especially given the way you play, I can see why that would start to get on your nerves.
It was great.
I had a section where I was doing something for a while with one piece of music, and it was like, okay, come on, let's go to the next track, please.
Well, I feel bad because you were like, oh, the music during this section was so great, and I just turned off the music because I got tired.
Oh,
I
no.
know. I'll go back.
Okay.
I'll go back.
Okay.
So anyway, I liked it a lot.
Johann Sebastian Bach in the background couldn't handle this.
No, it was ASMR. You gotta get the ASMR.
Oh, jeez.
No, I liked it. I would give it an 8 out of 10, close to a 9, somewhere between 8 and a 9. Although I don't want us to do 0.5, so it's an 8. Because like, I wish there was more story. I do like how much there was, but I wish there was more stuff to read. Given that I read a lot of it and there wasn't enough. And I also didn't like the music, so that's my thing. All right, now go. Tell us.
Okay.
Tell us.
So I really loved this game the first time that I played it. This time playing was a different experience because I knew a lot of things going in. I accidentally went through the DLC first, and I thought that would be a really good because I could use those tools through the rest of the main game, and I could, and that was interesting. However, I would not do that again, because just the way that the things kind of scale up, you're given everything you really need for the base campaign, and if you get these super tools,
I see.
then it kind of trivializes a lot of the base campaign. And then there was one point where I had something optional I could have done in the DLC where I needed a tool from the main campaign that I didn't have to do this optional thing. And anyways, I would recommend at some point, if you buy the DLC and you're playing through the base game for the first time and you hit something about the Kaguya trials, just avoid that until you've beaten the main story, and then you can go on. They'll give you some warnings as well, but I still really loved the game. I noticed bugs more often this time that it was just kind of like, why? How has this not been fixed by now? As well as like some little typos here and there, where it's just sometimes anytime I see a typo in a game that's been out for years, I'm just like, how after this long has nobody
reported this,
fixed this typo with like a little patch?
Was it purpose? Because there were some typos in the game that were.
It didn't seem like it was on purpose. Okay. Like I can understand. Like I was looking for that intent, but it was like in an email from like a CEO, for example. Like there were typos in there, where it was just like the words were kind of messed up. So it seemed like almost like a translation error. But then this guy was Australian, so I don't know. But that being said, this is easily my favorite hacking game. I have not found another hacking game that I enjoyed, despite loving computers and the idea of hacking. Either they have too obtuse of an interface, or like this is just kind of the perfect level of interactivity in terms of the gameplay and like how much you're supposed to be paying attention to your tools and stuff like that. The memory management was an interesting mechanic. The music is so good. Anytime that I need to just have a day at work where I'm just sitting down doing code for like the whole day, I will throw on this soundtrack along with the DLC soundtrack, and it's just like, it's perfect. It's such a great fit, and it just puts me in that mode of focus. I highly recommend doing that. Yeah, I really love this game. I think the bugs take it down a little bit, but there are some really creative missions in there that if they made another DLC or a Hacknet 2, I would buy it in a heartbeat. It's not a perfect game, but it's one that I really enjoy, and I would give it a solid 8 for sure. Yeah.
All right.
Also, I'd really like to apologize for swaying the vote with that meme. Yeah, I can't deny that there was some effect from that. I would love to do some putt-putt in the future, but maybe instead of one game, we could do like three putt-putt games, or Erica, but it's just putt-putt was winning at the time.
You were like,
but
no putt-putt.
Maybe, I think putt-putt's just a little too short to do one game, so maybe we could do like a set of putt-putt games.
Yeah.
Every putt-putt game.
Maybe we could stop at putt-putt travels through time, because the rest of them are not very good.
Gosh. Yeah, so that was Hacknet. Our next game is going to be Fury. Thank you all so much for voting, and thank you everyone for joining. Again, just a reminder, you can catch us here on twitch.tv/Bombchu TV every 2 weeks at 2 Eastern, and the next stream will be on January 31st. If you can't make the live session, don't worry, you can find the episode up on YouTube. Now, before we leave, Austin, is there anything that people should tune in or check out?
We are working on a new video series, me and
Potential
Tyler,
series.
and potential series. So keep an eye out for that. If you like our Humble Bundle videos, then this is probably something that you're going to be interested in as well. So keep an eye out. That should be coming pretty soon. It may be out before this VOD is up. It's hard to know, but soon we'll have our pilot episode out, and we'll see how it goes.
Hell yeah! Also, we have a special guest next video game club.
Ooh yeah! Double Chris from the Humble Reviews will be joining us for the next game club. So these 3 games for the vote were picked with him in mind to get him to agree to come on.
Oh my god. That's so sad. He has to be, bribed to hang out with us.
Well, that's just how it is. We'll have to chastise him about it next time.
Okay.
Austin, thank you so much for joining.
Thank you very much for having me.
Of course. And Mox, thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Anytime. I'm Tyler, and this was Video Game Club, episode 15, Hacknet, and we are out of here. I'd like to give a special shout out to Michael Slater, Blake Harms, and all of our patrons over on Patreon. Thank you, and thank everyone for watching.